calling you a radical. Very, very, very sad. One of the saddest days in the history of this building. Steve Klauke has been killed. The greatest sports announcer in the history of this state, in my mind. My favorite sports announcer in the history of the state of Utah. Hot Rod Hundley. Oh, I love that guy. Hot Rod's second. Klauke. He and I was very, very close. He got hit by a car. His last broadcast, because he retired from the Beast after the 2023 season. His last broadcast was in Boise, not in here. And I think I have it. I think I recorded it. Calling Dylan Jones. So he's been killed. He was hit by a car in the crosswalk. On 106th South and 13th East in Salt Lake. He lived in Salt Lake. He was a genius. He and I are very close. We used to visit before each game. This season, I literally sit right behind him. He was right there. I sat right there on the front row, but I've always sat by him. Although it's usually the play-by-play for the radio station. But his homework, he could tell you every player the whole time he was here. I don't care who the Weber State basketball, where their hometown was, what their birthday was. He knew them so intimately. The best statistician in the history of this school, bar none. And that wasn't even his job, was Klauke. His call was so even. I mean, he was no homer. He was just polished. He was professional. He was he was so good. It was unbelievable. He and I would talk, before games, after he'd say, hey, Blanch, what about this? And I said, you're all over it. He would double check, triple check everything. His favorite player, I can tell you, bar none, right here. And we're talking all these years. I believe Lillard's here right now. I think his basketball camp is this week. Klauke did the play-by-play for Lillard, the great Dane. Carl Archie, the great Carl Archie. I love Carl Archie. When he left, I thought, oh no, but then we got Klauke. Klauke was even better. He loved this team. He loved this sport. He loved this venue. He loved Weber State basketball and football, but his favorite player was Dylan Jones, bar none. He loved Dylan Jones. I mean, he would keep the stats on it. Dylan Jones with the Karam collection. Another double-double, Dylan Jones. He'd be so stoked and excited. He was a giant fan of Dylan Jones. I mean, his call, you could just hear it. His last call, I think his very last words on the air. I'm pretty sure I have it. I got to find it. I know I have it. Everybody say, well, aren't you going to go watch the game? I'm like, hell no, I'm watching the game when they're on the road. I'm listening to Klauke, football and basketball. He was such a dynamic, down-to-earth, even tilt guy. Never lost his cool, never up, down. I mean, just so old school professional. Unbelievable with the play-by-play, just with the stats. Never missed him, ever. He'd always double-check with me, I did the stats for all of them, KW. I remember being halftime before the stat sheets over. Klauke, how many rebounds he got? He'd put up his fingers, whatever. Him and the great Dave Patton with him. I can't believe it. 69, such incredible condition. On his week off, he'd get a week off during football. He'd always go back to the Bears, wherever the Bears were playing on the Weber State week off. I think his last call was Dylan Jones. I remember him saying on his last call, listening to it, saying, God, I've never had all this time off. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself, because he didn't do the bees anymore. He says, God, it's going to be clear till August 31st, Weber State at Washington, till you hear my voice again at Washington. He says, his last call was on March 11th. I'm not kidding you. Yeah. This place got so many ties to March 11th. Lillard's famous game when he's down by 22 points was that night, March 10th. Anthony Johnson passed away this year also, the greatest performance in the history of this building. That's saying so much in this building. Jason Kidd's last game, Jimmy Valvano cut down the nets. Klauke was so good. Just think about the players of the last decade. You know, I got cancer, got stuck here. I'm born and raised here. But you think about the players that Klauke got a call. Think about it. I mean, just really think about it here at Weber State. This is the greatest 10 years in athletes' history, in the history of the school. Nothing even comes close, especially when it comes to football. Klauke doing football. Rashid Shaheed, Jonah Williams, Teron Johnson, Opeta, Josh Davis, Adam Rodriguez, Winston Reed, Maxwell Anderson. I mean, Jack Kelly, Baron Bronson. I mean, Cantwell. I mean, I could just go on and on and on and on. It was Klauke that got a call. It was Klauke that called them all out. I mean, remember that great call down at Rashid? That was my call. He's gone to Tijuana. He's one of my favorite people ever. You know, when I had my heart attack, ripped to shreds last winter, Klauke on the radio. I'm listening to the games across the street. Longtime KWCR broadcaster Kevin Blanch, you know, our big fan, our big KWCR, the Beat 88.1 announcer, suffered a heart attack. He's right across the street listening to us right now, fighting for his life. We're praying for him. We wish him well. You see Klauke died?
Can you believe that?
I'm just doing a video about it. I'm so heartbroken about it. He got hit by a car.
Now walking.
I think he lives right there. I can't believe it.
So sad.
You know, so his last call was Dylan Jones. Jesus. You know, he retired from Bees baseball. Yeah, I remember his last call. He's up there, and I was listening to him, and he says, I don't know what I'm going to do with all my time off. He says, I won't be back again till football. He was the best, man. He's the best this place ever had. Well, you were close with him.
Yeah, I hung out with him.
Yeah, you guys had to be really close. He was the greatest, man. Yeah, Duff told me this morning. I didn't know what happened. He didn't even know what happened. You know, this was early. Did it happen yesterday?
Yeah, he was crossing the street. It's hard to see people. I mean, it's just not a great place on the intersection. It's always hard to see people walking. Many times
I got hit right there on the corner one day.
It's just hard to see people.
No, you know how it is. It's just a tragic accident. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do without him. You know, what an eerie got a call, right?
Yeah.
Think about the athletes you guys got to work with in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
The greatest athletes in the history of this school, bar none. You know who his favorite player was, don't you? Dylan Jones.
Yeah.
God, he loved Dylan. Think of all those players you guys got to work with in football.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Winston Reed, Rashid Shaheed, Teron Johnson, Opeta, Jonah Williams. That's just the ones in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very heartbroken about it. I was really close with him.
Yeah, it was bad.
Life goes on, man.
Tough news.
He's the only one that ever stuck up for me around here. He always stuck up for me. I don't know. What year did he start here? 2013, was it?
I'd say it's about 10 years ago, maybe
Yeah.
11. something.
Right after Archie left, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, he took Archie's spot.
Archie did Lillard's. Is Lillard here right now?
I haven't seen him.
Well, he's got his basketball camp. When's that start?
It's coming up, so he's got to be coming into town. I haven't seen him yet. They didn't say anything about it in practice today.
Well, it's a big blow. We need to dedicate the season to him.
Yeah.
We need to wear patches, the whole 9 yards.
Well,
He's the best this school ever had.
Blaze Street's got his name. He's going to wear his name on his shoes all year.
Is he? Nice. Blaze will be the superstar here this year.
Yeah, he'll be good.
He is good. So
Picked up a good player in Tomlin.
we got talent. That's no problem here.
We got it. We got it. We just got to win.
Well, we'll see what Dylan does in the draft. I wonder if Dylan even knows. I sent him an email. Dylan.
I'm getting calls from every team in the NBA.
About Dylan? Well, why would you? Let's see. He's a 4.0er. You ever known him to be hurt? You're the trainer. The dude's the beast. I mean, he crashes to the floor. That's what we were talking yesterday. I mean, Kev, I says, the thing in the draft with that, he's a 4.0 student. And he's like Karl Malone and John Stockton. The dude just crashes to the floor and he just gets up and plays.
Yeah.
I put the jinx on you guys. You know I did it when I told you how good they were over here when I saw you that day. And then they went down there and lost. I said, God, this team ain't got no stuff. I put the hex on them. All right, Joe.
All right. Yeah.
That's the long-time trainer right there. Dylan's going way higher than you think. And let me tell you, Klauke loved Dylan Jones. Me and Klauke talked Dylan Jones so many times. Dylan Jones talked to Klauke so many times. Klauke knew his shit, boy. And he, that's the longtime legendary trainer, Joe Bass himself, right there. You can see the tears in his eyes. You don't think that guy's a legend right there? You know how many trainers in the NBA? His guys? That's where the trainer, well, the legendary trainer Damian's. He's one of Joe Bass's guys. Who do you think taught him? Joel did. The ex Kobe Bryant trainer, the one who told me he's got a mind like you, Joe Bass guy. I mean, they're all over in the NFL and the NBA from his legendary training program. So he said, Blaze 3 going to put his name on the shoes. He's my favorite. I love that guy. One of my favorite people ever. Like I said, he's the only one that stuck up for me around here. Oh, did he? Him and Dylan. Dylan Jones did also. So, I know Dylan. I know Dylan better than anyone besides his family. I mean, I've been close to Dylan Jones here from day one. And I know how Dylan is. Dylan's such a fantastic person. When I had the heart attack, it was Klauke that told him. And Klauke and him, he walked all the way across the. I came into the arena like this. I could barely walk. My first place out of the hospital, I came to a game here. Just like the Lillard game. When I came to the Lillard game, I was in the bone marrow transplant center dying of cancer. Me and my nurse come out and got to watch a Lillard game. But I come out of the hospital and Dylan Jones walks all the way across, walks up the stairs to me just to come see me. And he says, God, I've been praying for you every day, Blanch. Klauke was always concerned. Always. How's your health, man? For 10 years, he always asked me, how you feeling? You know, you still freaking fighting them? Yeah. You know, hey, what'd you have on numbers on this game? Yeah, that's right. What'd you have? You never miss it, I told him. You never miss a stat. He never missed it. And Dylan's going to go higher than you think. I know, I don't know if Dylan knows. I mean, I didn't send Dylan an email. I sent some people that are close with Dylan an email. I'd leave him alone. I know he's busy, but I'm sure he wants to know. He'll be upset about this. Just think of the players. I mean, just think of the players that Klauke got a call here. That all of them just nobodies. Like Klauke. Klauke came here, went to work for the Jazz, retired for the Bees, but he had so many great fucking stories. He had stories about everything. I mean, he's so dynamic, and he would just go into these stories, so quickly. He's right there. Boom, 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 boom. I can remember games like that. Again, Rashid Shaheed. I remember I called Rashid's first touchdown. I called all Rashid's touchdowns, on me and Kev's blog, and on KWCR, The Beat. Got a call, that freaking great sacks by Adam Rodriguez. Those great runs by Josh Davis. Great freaking Tron Johnson. I remember he and I talking one time about this a few years ago. About what he thought of prospect. He was a realist. He was down to earth. He said, I don't know, Blanch, on this guy, blah, 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 blah. He was a huge fan of Andre Dyson's, our DB coach. He'd say, no, these DBs are all NFL material. He loved Hester. He got to call Hester all those years of financial review. How about Collins? Big fan of Collins, by the way. He loved Collins. He says, no, those guys are in NFL. He says, he's the guy that started calling it DBU. Giant fan of Jay Hill's. He loved Jay Hill. So you think about all these players. Klauke, come out of nowhere. Got a job with the Jazz. Manager just... Winston Reed, he loved Winston Reed. Winston Reed was a walk-on here. He's the Browns. Winston Reed, Rashid Shaheed, Maxwell Anderson, freaking Jonah Williams, Teron Johnson, Opeta, Adam Rodriguez. These are players nobody wanted, including Rashid. Nobody wanted. Nobody. Jay Hill, give them a chance. They're all walk-ons. They're scholarships. I mean, Winston Reed's a fucking walk-on. I remember the day, you got to call them all. He's the greatest broadcaster, play-by-play. I can go all the way back. In the history of the state, not just Weber State, in the history of the state. That's saying so much. He was the best. I liked him better than Hot Rod Hundley, and that's saying so much. Hot Rod Hundley was so fucking awesome. I mean, life goes on. His last call. You can't make it up. March 11th. I know his last call, he was talking about Dylan. And so, more incentive for Dylan Jones to... Dylan Jones is so good. I remember Klauke. He says, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. He was hoping Weber State would go deeper this year and we'd get into the tournament because I'm not doing the Bees games anymore. And God, it's going to be clear till August 31st. I'm going to be 6 months off. What am I going to do with myself? So I called Weber State football. He's only 69. He said I was really close with him. Really close. We talked before and after. What a wit. What a mind. Loved his goofy, quirky ass jokes too. He always had one. But he's gone. We've lost a freaking, literally a legend here. That's saying a lot in this building. Long live Steve Klauke, the best broadcaster in the history of this school, bar none. I think he's the best broadcaster in the history of the state of Utah. That's saying a lot, Hot Rod Hundley. Dylan Jones, with his 10th Carom collection. Another double-double by the great Dylan Jones. Stay Steve Klauke. Stay tuned.